Imagine waking up every day to the same concrete walls, the same bars, the same sounds, keys clanking, metal doors slamming, voices echoing down long, cold corridors. Time doesn't flow normally in prison. It stretches, it loops. Sometimes it disappears. For the person living in it, prison is not just a physical space. It becomes a mental reality. The mind of a prisoner is often misunderstood. People on the outside might think it's just regret or anger or survival instincts. But the truth is, it's complex, it's layered, it shifts over time. It changes depending on how long you've been inside, why you got there, and what you've seen and done while you're locked up. In the early days of incarceration, the mind goes into a kind of a shock. The body might be in the cell, but the mind is still outside, still replaying the arrest, the courtroom, the final moment the judge said, guilty. There's a deep disorientation. You wonder, how did I get here? Is this real? You feel ashamed, angry, numb, or sometimes weirdly relieved, like the chaos finally stopped, like something finally caught you before you went any deeper. Over time, the mind begins to adapt. It has to survive. Survival in prison doesn't come from strength. It comes from mental flexibility. A prisoner learns fast how to read faces, how to hear tone before words, how to feel tension in a room before it breaks loose. You start watching people constantly. Trust is rare. Paranoia becomes a tool. Emotions are suppressed. Vulnerability can get you hurt. So most prisoners create an emotional armor. They learn to act tough, cold, calm. But that doesn't mean they're not feeling things. It means they can't afford to let others see what they feel. A prisoner's thoughts shift based on their environment. In solitary confinement, thoughts echo loud, louder than voices. Time alone can make a man deflect deeply, or it can break him. For some, it becomes a monastery, a place of harsh inner honesty. For others, it becomes madness, too much silence, too much guilt, too many ghosts. There's no way to run from yourself in a cell with no windows. Many prisoners start to think in terms of time, in numbers. How many months left? How many years gone? How many more until they're free? Freedom becomes abstract. It becomes something to fantasize about, but also something to fear. You think everyone would want to get out, and many do. But the truth is, not all prisoners are ready for the outside, because the outside is no longer home. You see, prison changes a person's mind in ways most people can't grasp. It strips you of choice. It breaks down your identity. Everything is decided for you. When to eat, when to sleep, when to walk, who you can talk to, how loud you can speak. The structure can be suffocating, but it can also become familiar. And familiarity, even if it's painful, can feel safe. When prisoners are released, their minds often carry prison with them. Some walk out free physically, but mentally, they're still behind those bars. They don't trust people. They don't know how to navigate choice. The world moves fast, and they've slowed down. Some don't know how to apply for a job, how to use a phone, how to be in a room with strangers without scanning for threats. Even joy can feel suspicious. And so, we come to the question, why do some prisoners return? So, it's not because they want to. It's not because they're bad people. Sometimes it's because the system set them up to fail. Sometimes it's because the support isn't there. And sometimes it's because the outside feels even more like a prison than the inside did. When someone has spent years being told when to sleep, when to eat, how to act, and then is suddenly thrown into a world with no guidance, no safety net, and no one who understands what they've been through. It's overwhelming. Add poverty, add addiction, add trauma, add people expecting you to just figure it out, and you start to see why some go back. Going back to prison might feel to them like returning to order, returning to something they know, something they can control, ironically, because even if the world inside is brutal, it's predictable. And the mind, when it's been wired by trauma, will sometimes choose the familiar over the free. But not all prisoners return. Some make it, some break the cycle, and often it's because something or someone reached them while they were still inside. A mentor, a program, a book, a faith, a sense of purpose, something that reminded them, you are more than this place. You are not your worst mistake. You can still become. Prison teaches you a lot about people. It reveals things most of society hides. It strips away ego. It amplifies pain, but it also shows resilience, brotherhood, insight. The man you see behind bars might have been a father, a musician, a dreamer, a kid who never got a chance. He might still be all of those things. He might be rebuilding piece by piece with nothing but time, thought, and a sliver of hope. We often talk about prison reform as policy, but the real reform starts in the mind. The way society views prisoners as throwaways, as monsters, becomes the way they see themselves. But when someone is treated like a human, they begin to reclaim their humanity. When they're spoken to with respect, they begin to respect themselves. And when they believe they are worth more than their past, that is when change begins. So, the mind of a prisoner is not simple. It's not static. It's not evil. It's a mind under pressure, a mind adapting, a mind surviving, and sometimes it's a mind awakening. We must make room for that transformation, not just in our systems, but in our thinking. Because the question shouldn't just be, why do some go back? It should also be, how do we help them stay free? And even deeper than that, how do we create a world where fewer people end up there to begin with? Now, don't get me wrong, there are some